Parshat Vayishlach tells us the very sad tale of how Dinah, the only daughter of Yaakov, was abducted, apprehended, and raped by a local chieftain whose name was Shem. In fact, he was the son of the chieftain whose name was Hamor. And Hamor and Shem then go to speak to Yaakov and his sons to try and negotiate for a hand in marriage. But Yaakov's sons are having none of this. And they deceive Hamor and Shem into making a deal that will give them a strategic advantage. And they say, fine, you can have our daughter Dinah, our sister Dinah, but we're not prepared to allow her to live with a man who is uncircumcised. So you have to become circumcised, and in fact your entire clan. And then we can live together, and we can intermarry, and we can do trade and commerce together. And Shem, who had taken Dinah, was so infatuated, was so besotted with her, that he convinced his father Hamor. They went back to the town, and they told everybody, and they all agreed, and they all circumcised themselves. And on the third day after the circumcision, when all of the men were in pain, the two sons of Yaakov, Shimon and Levi, the brothers of Dinah, went into the town of Shem, and they found no resistance. They killed all of the males. They took the females captive and the children and all of the booty. And after that, Yaakov said, how could you have done such a thing? You have sullied my reputation. I'm small in number. They're going to gather up against me, and they're going to destroy me. And Shimon and Levi seem to have the last word over here. And they say, Hakazonah yased achotenu. Will he treat our sister Dinah like a harlot? Would you want such a thing? And this is where the Torah ends the discussion. Later on, at the end of the book of Bereshit, Yaakov criticizes them. But at this point in time, they seem to have the upper hand. What exactly is going on over here? This is a very perplexing matter. It's one thing to kill perhaps Shem. Shem abducted and raped Dinah, but why the townsfolk? What did they do wrong? And this is a famous discussion. There's the opinion of Maimonides and Nachmanides. And the Maharal says something fascinating. He says that this wasn't just an act of crime, but it was actually an act of war. Shem was not a private citizen. Shem was Ben HaMelech. He was the son of the king. And he took a woman from another nation. Israel was considered to be a nation. Shem was considered to be a nation. He took a woman from another nation. He abducted her and he raped her. That is a declaration of war. And therefore Yaakov's sons were entitled to go and to make war against Shem. And if the only way they could do it was to trick them and to use subterfuge, so be it. Sometimes this happens in war. And of course, unfortunately, innocent people also die in war. Now, as much as we must minimize casualties, collateral damage, but sometimes it can't be helped. And what Yaakov was saying to them is, you may be justified in what you're doing, but it wasn't a prudent thing to do because they are going to rise up and attack us, and we're a small nation. And Rabbi Hirsch says something astounding. He said that Yaakov's son Shimon and Levi did not want to do what was prudent. They wanted to send a message. And the message was, if this had been some local girl, somebody from the town, this wouldn't have happened. But this is a Jewish girl. This was a foreigner. And Shem thought he could just get away with it. And therefore they wanted to send a message right at the beginning of Jewish history that this is not the way that you treat us. This is not the way that you treat our woman. This is not the way that you treat our sister and our daughter. And they wanted to make a very strong point. Yes, and there may be feedback, there may be negative press, but this is what they wanted to do. And when I think of this parsha, it's uncanny in terms of the times that we live in, following the 7th of October, the terrible, terrible terrorist attack in Israel. There are still hostages who have not been returned to Israel. And I think that what Yaakov is worried about and what Shimon and Levi did is exactly the discussion. On the one hand, Israel is entitled to go and to wipe out Hamas and to bring back the hostages. They were attacked. It was an act of war by the government of another nation. And therefore they're entitled to make war. And yes, they have to minimize casualties, but they're entitled to go out and to destroy the enemy. On the other hand, you have people in the Jewish nation who are like Yaakov, and they say, that may be true, but we're a small nation. We have to think about what everybody's going to say. We have to worry about public opinion. And this remains a conflict until this very day. But in the meantime, we pray for the peace of the hostages. They should be returned soon. We pray for the soldiers that they should be well. And we pray for all of those who have been injured. Please, God, there should be peace soon in our time. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.